Here we are at Siemens Holl, a building designed by Stephen Holl, an architect based in New York. The building is part of a larger master plan designed by Stephen Holl for MIT, which included different educational and residential buildings. So far, the only building built as part of this master plan. The building hosts dorms for college students. It is inspired by the idea of porosity. Every floor has these public spaces which are open to maybe 3, 4, or 5 different levels that are accessible for students, and they can use them either for study areas or lounges where they can meet their friends. Every level also has a balcony, which are these large cuts that you can see in the building. So you can either go to the indoor space of the so-called caves, these very sculptural spaces in the interior, or you can go to the outdoor terrace and enjoy the views of Boston on one side or of Cambridge on the other side. Interestingly, the structure of the building is in the facade, so we don't have a building in which you have separation of facade and structure, but the structure itself is shown with this square grid that you see in the facade. So there are 2 lines of structure on the side of the corridor in the inside, and then there are 2 structural lines where the facade is. The facade is prefabricated as most of the projects, so the construction was easier, faster, and cheaper. You can see the colors in the facade, a blue, a red, orange, and yellow. The colors express the structural stresses in the facade itself. So the more red we had, the more structural stresses we have in that point, and the more blue we have, the less tension we have. So in a way, it's a building that shows us how it works. Okay, so even if we don't see the actual structure, even we don't understand how the actual structure is designed, the color in the facade tells us a story about it. Another interesting thing about this building is the idea of scale in the facade. As you can see, it's made with this square grid in which we don't really understand how many floors the building has as we look at it from the exterior. That idea of the scale is translated into a different building by Stephen Holl in Beijing, where you have the slab that coincides with the grid of the facade. So that, in that case, it really tells us how many floors the building has. In this case, it's slightly ambiguous. We don't really understand the correspondence between the slab and the structure, which creates this very interesting perception of the facade as we go closer to it and as we enter the building and see it from the interior. The building hosts also some public spaces on the ground floor. It has cinema, entertainment rooms, playgrounds, and the dining hall of MIT. Sometimes you have interesting moment when the caves go inside and actually alter the space of your room. So you may have a room which is this, let's say, orthogonal plan, and all of a sudden you have this curvilinear surface that goes inside and really interrupts the space. So it creates this very unique spatial moments in the interior. Every floor, every room has 3 different windows on different heights. So you can see either up in the sky, or you can see down to the city, or down to the sports field. Students can personalize their room. The furniture is modular, so you can assemble your bed in a different way, you can move your table in a different way, and really play with it. So it's very, very creative and inspiring space.